1920s multi-tool, Arm & Hammer Gutta Percha Match Safe. It probably only weighs a couple pounds. Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, we're going to talk about the 10 C's of hobo survival. Stay tuned. Many of you know and watch my good friend Dave Canterbury, and he's got some great videos. I've taken some training under him, and we chat back and forth from time to time. But somebody had made a comment that a lot of the things that I'm doing in the Hobo series reminded them of the 10 C's of survival that Dave has made popular. And so I thought, wouldn't it be a fun video to kind of dig into my knowledge and my studies of the hobo culture and put together a Hobo 10 C's kit. So that's what this is. Let's get to it right now. The first item in the 10 C's is a cutting tool. And for that, I have selected this 1920s multi-tool knife. It's made in Sheffield, England, and I'll open it up and show you all of the blades and tools that it has. So looking at the pocket knife from left to right, we have the main blade, we have a can opener, corkscrew, fingernail file and fingernail cleaner, and awl, AWL, that's to punch holes in leather or stiff material. We have a can opener, a fork, and some really nice scissors. Next, we have our handkerchief rolled up in a pocket with some small items inside. And the next item that we're going to need is a combustion device. And for that, we have this. This is an Arm & Hammer Gutta Percha, which is a type of a rubber product, match case. These are also known as a match safe. And I'll give you a close-up here. You can see what it looks like. And the top simply comes off of it, just like this. It's fairly watertight. And you can see it's compliments of Church & Company. And then we have a number of Strike Anywhere matches inside. Interestingly enough, a lot of people back in that day didn't carry multiple ways to start fires. They were very comfortable with just matches. The next item on the 10 C's is a container. Now we have the container wrapped up in our cover, and I'll get to a little bit more of that here in just a minute as to what this is and how I made it. Held together by just a leather belt with a hole punched pretty close to the end, so it can simply be thrown over the shoulder. It's very lightweight for walking, traveling, hopping in and out of boxcars, things of that nature. Again, old belts are super useful, and I'm sure that hobos and many other people have used them over the years, and I can normally get these for a couple of dollars, the solid leather kind, at a second-hand store. So we're going to unroll this, and inside we have our container. And this is a large can. This is a chili can, I believe. And a tuna can fits down inside really nice, so if you want to carry something inside, it's not going to come out, it doesn't rattle, but you can wedge that out, and this becomes a cup. You can have something to drink out of. This is the pot, like a billy can. Has our famous little handle on here with the curve in it. I have a video on how to make this, but there you go. We have our container, we can boil water, and then pour something to drink, and we're good to go. And then this just simply presses down to the top until it hits the wires here on either side, and you can press fit that down in there pretty good. And it's kind of difficult to get out. You have to really pull on it. But they're cheap and they're easy to make, easy to put together. All right, so let's talk about this homemade gum blanket here. This is a large piece of muslin. I purchased this at Hobby Lobby and put the grommets in here, these brass grommets, every so many feet. Stitched some nice corners in that to reinforce them, and then I sprayed it with that rubber coating that you can get for sealing all sorts of things, and it has lasted quite a few years, and I've used this in a lot of camping scenarios. So it's pretty big, actually. As I'm going to demonstrate, this is plenty big enough to make a shelter out of, or for me to roll up in if a rainstorm comes. As you can see, it's quite adequate, easily covers all of me on both ends, And I have used this quite a bit. So that's why it's so dirty. I've used it under my sleeping arrangement, whatever that might be, a sleeping bag or a wool blanket or something like that. But I made this quite a few years ago, and I'm really happy with it. It's held up extremely well. The next item in the 10 C's is cordage. You probably saw this when I unwrapped the gum blanket and took out the container, but this is just a little cotton bag, and inside we have a couple of items. We have some waxed string, heavy-duty linen, and that's great for repairing. Of course, you can put up a shelter with it. It's pretty strong. And then we simply have a large hank of this heavy jute, and we've whipped the ends, which is what you should always do. So again, very sturdy, and I can use this in the grommet holes in the gum blanket to stake it out and make a Jim Dandy shelter. The next item, the cotton bandana. 101 uses, and of course, any respectable hobo would always have a bandana with him. And that actually went for just about any working man back in the day. These had a lot of uses, as I said, and besides, an extra piece of cloth. We know today you can use it for char cloth and things like that to help with your fire starting. The next item is cargo tape, or duct tape as we would call it today. Now, interestingly enough, adhesive tape, medical tape, was invented as early as 1845. So by the time of the Civil War and certainly on into the Depression era, tape was a very common item. Now remember that a lot of the things they carried were repairable by using screws, bolts, copper rivets, things like that, a lot of steel, leather, canvas, so things could be stitched and put back together, not so much like our modern nylons and Gore-Tex and things like that, where a piece of tape can come in really handy. And so what we have is we have some medical tape just wrapped around a pencil. You can see that? Again, not a whole lot, maybe 5 or 6 feet, but enough for us to do some minor repairs as well as provide a little bit of first aid by using a piece of the bandana as a bandage and taping it on with this. Our next item is a small marbles pocket compass. Very easy to carry, and this type actually comes apart. You can unscrew it to clean it, or if this bearing somehow gets off, sometimes it will fall off of the little pin, so you have to put it back on, but that's pretty easy to do. But these are very, very handy, and they give a really good sense of direction even after all these years. Our next item is a canvas needle stuck in a small cork just to protect the tip. It's pretty long, pretty heavy duty, and we have about 15 feet of heavy linen thread wrapped around it, so that way we can carry it and already have thread for any repairs. And last but not least is our candling device, and for that we have a candle, just a small piece of a candle, and this is made from beef tallow, so it can be eaten in an emergency for a little bit of food, but also provides a little bit of light and something that a hobo would have carried, because again, it's something that gives you light and helps you to do things after dark a little bit more effectively than just a campfire, and you can carry it around with you into a cave or a dark recess of a rock or something so you can see a little bit better. Again, a lot more handier than a campfire if you need to walk around at all. So here it is all laid out for you. We have the cutting tool, we have our combustion device, our container, we have the cover, the cordage, cotton material, cargo tape, compass, canvas needle, and candling device. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little foray into the past, using our imagination to put together a 10 C's kit according to what a hobo might have carried back in the day in the classic era of the hobo. Of course, we don't know for sure, but many of the items that they did carry would have been very similar. Because again, the problems they were trying to solve are the very same problems that you and I are trying to solve for a large part. I've really enjoyed putting this together for you. Make sure and give it a thumbs up. Those really do help get the video out to more subscribers. And again, thank you so very much for all your support, and we're all packed up and ready to go. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also make sure and check out the links in the description box just under the More button. While you're down there, you'll also find our waypointsurvival.com link, and this is where you can sign up to take survival and bushcraft classes at our beautiful training facility in Southern Ohio. You will also find our Patreon link, and this is where you can support the channel for as little as $12 a year, and believe me, we really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.